4 metres medium wave and 95.5 VHF. It's 7:15, and here to introduce our next programme is Roy Castle.
Hello and welcome to the Record Breakers.
Record breaker. If you're the tallest,
And if Radio Bristol listeners think they've tuned into the wrong programme, here's a familiar voice to put their minds at rest. Jeffrey James.
Thank you very much, Roy. No, this isn't the Record Breakers. By this time tomorrow, though, we hope we will be. After 12 hours and 5 minutes of continuous programme, it's called Midnight Rally. Well, welcome to what we hope will be the longest-running local radio programme in the United Kingdom. We have a list of stars, headed, of course, by Roy Castle, who we'll be speaking to in a few moments' time. We're also following the 12th National 24-Hour Pedal Car Race at Whitchurch Airfield. If you'd like to go down there, why not? Join in the fun. Let's start off with a record about car racing. It's called Baby Driver. It's sung by Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel.
How long have you been in the radio business now?
Well, just the 3.5 years I've been here.
Well, what about the first try? How did you manage to get the first try?
Well, I was listening to Radio Bristol, in Bristol. I was teaching English to foreign students at the time, adult students, and I heard that they were looking for a record librarian. So I thought, well, I'll come along and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
And applied for the job, got it. And then while I was here, you know, started looking around and doing as much broadcasting as I could, helping people out with their programmes.
As you were, once you were librarian, you weren't actually broadcasting then,
I did latterly, yes. For the first 4 months, I didn't do any at all.
And how did you get the first broadcast?
I guess somebody was ill, and they came to me and said, would you sit in this chair and say something?
So that's where the luck comes in, really.
Yeah. I think you've got to persevere. You've got to be prepared to work hard for very little. And I know that's not a... Oh, we're coming up. Not a sound, in fact, to be heard at Whitchurch Airfield this evening, because it's all pedal car races out there. It's the 12th National Pedal Car Race. We're following it on BBC Radio Bristol with Midnight Rally from now until 7:20 in the morning. But we're delighted to say, and you might have gathered from the rather bizarre start, that in fact Roy Castle is here from Record Breakers. Roy, welcome to Radio Bristol.
Thank you.
Have you been down to Bristol before?
Oh, yes, quite a few times.
Now, you've done lots of things in your life, including playing various musical instruments, ranging from the kettle to the trumpet.
Yeah.
And you've also done some tap dancing. Have you ever done any pedal car?
No. I did when I was a little boy, of course, but I've never actually gone in for a long rally like that.
Yes, are you planning to pop out to Whitchurch at all?
Oh, yes, indeed, sure.
Good.
Who can't miss out on a record, can we?
Excellent. And in fact, you're going to be here right at the end, aren't you, at 7:20 in the morning?
We're going to be checking up, and we'll be here right when you do the record, yes.
A few more records, because we're going to keep the programme moving fast throughout the night. It's now 7:24. We're going on to 7:20 in the morning. The Bellamy Brothers now.
there's a reason.
With the record attempt well underway, I left the comfort of the studio to visit Whitchurch, where the 24-hour pedal car rally was being held. There, I met up with roving reporter Tim Flynn, who was just about to give the latest rally news to Radio Bristol listeners.
Thank you very much, Pepson. Well, we're very lucky. We've been joined here by Roy Castle, who's down here with the Record Breakers team. Roy, have you ever seen anything like this before?
No, it's the very first time. It's absolutely superb. We've just arrived and it's rather cold down here. It's hot up in the studio there, Jed. But it's a bit nippy down here, but all the chaps riding, they're really having a super time. They're whizzing round. I didn't think they'd be going as fast as all this, and they're super cars that they've made. They've all got lights front and back, and they're all wearing crash helmets. There's been just a little bit of a spill here about a couple of seconds ago, but there was nobody hurt. And as they whiz round, they keep shouting the number of their car so that the checkpoint can say they've done another lap. And there's all the lovely people around having a marvellous time. The atmosphere is super, isn't it? They're all cheering on their particular cars. Very exciting. I didn't think it was going to be anything like this at all. It certainly was an exciting night for lots of people in Bristol. And you can find out exactly what happened at the end of that marathon radio broadcast at the end of this programme.
Good morning. Good morning. Wake up, you lazy lot. Good morning. Good morning to you. The largest bed in Britain is the Great Bed of Ware. Built about 1580, it now resides in the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. It's 3.26 metres wide and 3.37 metres long and 2.66 metres tall. And it can sleep, good morning, 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 good morning to you and you. Good morning, 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 good morning to you. Is that the lot? Oh, thank goodness for that. I can go back to bed now in a comfy, cosy, uncrowded, bouncy, big bed record breaker. Good night. On your foot, get set. Come on, 1 foot, get set, balance. Come on, everybody balance on the 1 foot. That's it. How are we all doing? Now, what we're trying to do here is to balance on 1 foot for as long as possible. Norris, what are the rules for this particular record?
Well, really, there are 3 of them. First, you must nominate which leg you're going to use, and you have to stay with that leg all the time. The second thing is you mustn't lean on anything, nor can you have crutches or anything of that kind. And thirdly, the free foot, you're not allowed to place it on top of the foot that's on the floor.
You've just got to keep going. Anybody fallen down yet? Did you go and fall down? Oh, dear, oh, dear. What's your name?
Lawrence.
Oh, I thought it might have been Humpty Dumpty. All right, Norris, what is the record for standing on 1 foot?
Well, it's almost unbelievable. If you allow 5 minutes rest each hour, which is allowed by the rules, then the record was set on the 25th of March, 1977, at Poole, and it was for 14 hours, and it was set by Wendy Morrell of the Bournemouth and Poole College of Further Education. And congratulations. That was a fantastic performance. Now, I see you've got your leg in plaster, or a cast, as the Americans say. You didn't have it like that when you set the record last March, did you?
No, I didn't. I did this shortly afterwards.
And then, when you did the record, did you feel you could have done even longer than 14 hours, or were you at the end of your tether?
Well, more or less, perhaps 5 minutes more.
5 minutes, I think so. It's fantastic. Now, if somebody broke it, say in Scandinavia or America or France or somewhere, would you try and get your record back?
Oh, yes, quite definitely.
That's the spirit. That's really wonderful.
Well, congratulations from us. We're all very proud of you. What would your title be? I suppose it would be you're a plaster-casted, pins and needles, one-leg standing record breaker. On the 21st of November, 1974, that's 2, Mark Barman of Grand Island, Nebraska, that's 3, succeeded in balancing 5, that's 4, 5 new golf balls on top of each other, that's 5. Ooh. And he's a ball balancing, no glue record breaker. And that is 6. And I'm a cheat. This giant floral clock at Niagara Falls was built in 1950. The hour hand is 4.4 metres long and it weighs 226.8 kilograms. The minute hand is 5.33 metres long and weighs the same as the hour hand. The second hand is 6.4 metres long and weighs 113.4 kilograms. It takes 25,000 plants each year to cover the clock face, which is almost 12.2 metres in diameter. It is, of course, the largest floral clock in the world, and it's a multi-flora tick-tocking time-telling record breaker. Now is the flower hour for me to say...
Football crazy, he's football mad, and the footballing has robbed him of the wee bit sense he had. Here, Red, where's your glasses? He was offside a mile. Hey, come on now.
From October to December 1919, Coventry played 11 successive games of football without scoring a single goal. It's the longest goalless streak ever recorded in professional football. Ooh, what's that? Right, now I've got a letter here from Stratford Sub-Castle near Salisbury, Wilts. It says, Dear Roy, I am not being rude, but my puppy dog called Rupert did a wee-wee 21 feet long on our best carpet. He ran around the room, leaving a trail like a river on a map. Is this a record breaker? Timothy Saunders, age 8.5 years. What about that, Norris?
I've never heard anything remotely like that, but I should think Timothy's mother, the thing that worried her about the best carpet is, of course, the uric acid. And the way to get rid of it is to get a soda siphon and rush along and squirt the soda siphon to neutralise the acid. And I did hear of a case of the wife of a marquis, they're called marchionesses, lives in a huge big house in Hertfordshire, and she spends her time rushing up and down long corridors because she's got 2 King Charles spaniel puppies.
Yeah?
So I think she's probably the record holder.
Imagine what happens if she catches the dog up. It will go, whoa, whoa, whoa! Now, it's your turn to ask questions now. What about you? What's your name?
David.
David. Have you got a question?
Yes.
What is it?
What's the biggest computer in the world?
The biggest computer?
Biggest computer, that's a very interesting app because it keeps on changing hands. And there's one now in the United States, which is the biggest. It became the champion earlier this year. And it measures not millions, but billions of bits of information. And it's also the fastest. And it's so fast that you measure the time that it can work out sums in what are called nanoseconds, which are less than a billionth of a second. So it can, it's so fast, it's almost unbelievable.
Who else is going to ask a question? Let's have a look at you. Wait a minute, what's your name first?
Douglas Hollins.
Douglas Hollins, right. And what's your question?
What's the longest telephone call?
The longest telephone call?
Well, there was one in America that was done between the girls' dormitories and the boys' dormitories in a co-educational college at a place called Kalamazoo in the state of Michigan. And it went on for more than 700 hours. And the amazing thing was it didn't cost very much, because once they'd made the connection, it was a local call, and therefore it didn't cost too much, but nobody else would get on the line.
Let's wander over here. I'll come right up to the top. What's your name?
Sophie.
Sophie, and what's your question?
How much does the largest guinea pig weigh?
The largest guinea pig, what does it weigh?
I've never seen that established. I know about the oldest one, but not the largest, because the very heavy ones are usually rather ill. They're what's known as obese, because they eat too much, and they're greedy cats.
Yeah.
But the heaviest weight has never been really established.
Right, let's have another look at a letter here. It's from Warrington. It says, Dear Roy, me and my friend Robert have had 15 squabbles in one day. Is it a record? Love, David Bruin, age 6. What about that?
Well, most squabbles are in private, and therefore they aren't recorded. There's no such thing as a squabbleometer or something for counting them. And I think, really, the greatest squabbles are often between husbands and wives on the tennis court when they're playing mixed doubles, or among these people who play contract bridge. But the most famous squabblers, I think, are the fishwives in the old days in Billingsgate in London, in the fish market. And they used to hear their squabbles, hundreds of yards away, all day long.
And they're all fighting, feuding, friendly record breakers!
Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a turnip. But it wasn't as big as the one Mr. C.W. Butler of Nafferton, Umberside grew in 1972. Each weighed nearly 16 kilograms. And he didn't like turnip.
If you want to make a figure 8, but make it with an ice skate, lots of skaters can, but there is a man who was first to do a triple jump, and you soon will understand how. But we've got to go to Canada right now. That tune you can hear is called the Skater's Waltz. But you won't be seeing any waltzing from me because it takes me all my time to just stand on the 2 feet. And that, in Canada, can be quite embarrassing. Because in this country, this is where skating was born. Hundreds and hundreds of years ago, the Iroquois Indians used to skate with animal shin bones strapped to their feet with leather thongs. But now, of course, all skates are made of metal, and they're all for different types of skating. There's ice hockey, or there's speed skates, or there's figure skating. And these particular boots belong to one of the finest figure skaters the world's ever known, Donald Jackson. In the World Championships at Prague in Czechoslovakia in 1962, he delighted everyone with a skating program that was beyond belief for its flair and imagination. And he astounded the world when, during that program, he became the first man to perform this jump in competition. Donald, that was a terrific jump there. Now, what was that called?
That was called a triple Lutz, and fortunately in '62 I was able to do that at the opening of my program and land it perfectly on one foot.
Yeah? And how long did you have to perfect that sort of practicing before you dared put it in a world championship?
Well, I worked on the triple Lutz for 4 years off and on, and sprained my ankle a couple of times, had my leg in a cast once. And the last year, and back in '62 in the summer, I was working with Sheldon Galbraith, my coach at the time. And at the end of a summer of working 8 hours a day, 6 days a week for I guess it was 8 weeks,
yeah,
I finally landed my first triple Lutz, and I landed 3 more that weekend.
And could you just explain to us what you have to do for a triple Lutz?
It's a jump where you skate backwards. I place my toe in the ice, but when I'm preparing in the opposite direction that I'm going to rotate. I pull my arms in, rotate 3 turns in the air, and land backwards on 1 foot.
Yeah.
Balanced.
Yeah. Well, now, when did you first skate? What age were you?
I started skating about 8 years old, 8.5 years old. I was in a school carnival, and I was a snowman. And I wasn't able to go into the races, but I won first prize in the costume parade. So I mentioned to my parents I'd like to learn to skate, and they found out about the Oshawa Skating Club, which is a city just outside of Toronto. And I joined the club, and I played tag. And
from the beginning, did you have your own skates, or did you sort of borrow them?
No, well, at first I borrowed some, and then when I joined the skating club, I got a pair of girl skates, and I had them dyed black.
Yeah.
And if they hadn't dyed them black, I think I might have not been a figure skater, because in my day, it was very difficult for a young boy to go out and figure skate when mostly the boys here were playing hockey.
Yeah, yeah.
But once they were dyed black, and I enjoyed the figure skating, I worked for a couple of years, and then there was a man called Ed Corelli, who was a world champion in pair skating.
Is he the chap who really felt that you got a good talent for the real talent that eventually evolved?
Well, he certainly gave me a good foundation, and I think a good foundation is very, very important. I was so young, I guess he saw that there was the eagerness there and there was some natural ability, but you can have all this, but you still have to work hard, and you have to have parents that are willing to give up a little bit for you. And I was fortunate. Everything worked out for me. My parents sacrificed a great deal, and I worked very hard. I had good coaching, a lot of ice time, and it clicked at the championship.
Yeah. Now, it always intrigues me when we hear the music. Do you choose it, or does the trainer choose it, or what?
Well, I think it's a combination, but at first I think the skater has to know what they want and know what they like to skate to. And in Prague, I skated to Bizet's Carmen, which was excellent for me.
Can I take you back to 1962 again? How did you get on in the figures?
Well, in the school figures, I was skating quite well up to the 4th figure, where I lost 35 points. So after skating 6 figures, I was 45 points behind the hometown boy, Carol Devine. And then that evening, we had the free skating. He skated before me. I didn't know exactly how he skated, but just before I went on the ice, I asked Mr. Galbraith, my coach at that time, I said, "Is there room for me to pull up?" And he said, "Don, there's room at the top." And I said, "Thank you, that's all I want to know." And I went out and I skated my heart out. I did everything that I possibly could.
And for that terrific performance, Donald was awarded maximum points. 6 out of 6 by 7 judges. A record for a solo ice skater that has stood for over 15 years. That was some performance. And it was quite a performance Radio Bristol gave last February when they attempted to set a new record for the longest local radio broadcast with their Midnight Rally programme. It started at 7:15 in the evening on February 25th and was scheduled to run 12 hours and 5 minutes. So, having been up most of the night, I joined the disc jockey Louis Robinson, who presented the last part of the show at 7:15 in the morning for the finish.
Percy Faith and his orchestra, ably assisted by Roy Castle on stool. 12 hours ago, Roy, you were sitting in that very seat talking to Geoffrey James, a fellow presenter, and saying you were going to look forward to the whole evening. Yeah. Have you enjoyed it?
Oh, yeah, it's been marvellous.
We've also been breaking records here on Radio Bristol because we're smashing our own record of being on the air for a long time. Mr. Norris McWhirter has joined us on the telephone. Good morning to you, Norris.
Good morning.
Norris, as you know, we've held this record for 3 years now. Is there any real fear of competition from any other radio stations if people started doing these sort of programmes?
I did get an echo that Radio Oxford is going to have a go, but of course there's difficulty in a major radio station being able to schedule anything longer than that. And I would think that it would certainly last anyway until we get it into print, and I'll look forward to receiving the logbook, studio log, so we can make a few spot checks, because we have to be professional disbelievers until we satisfy ourselves that everything is above board and accurate.
We've got 30 seconds to go. Would you like to just count us down to the time and we actually break that record and be on the air for 12 whole hours?
It is, certainly.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We have liftoff.
Oh, isn't that great? There you are.
Congratulations.
Well done. We'll send you the confirmation of that post-haste.
Yeah, cheers. Cheers, Norris. Did you have a good night?
I had a good night, yeah.
We had a wonderful one. Well, you can go back to bed now, Norris.
Okay.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Well, congratulations.
See you soon.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. We can now officially call you the new record breakers, can't we?
Certainly can.
I'd like to say that what Radio Bristol has in common with nearly all record breakers is dedication. Dedication. Oh, dedication. That's what you need if you want to be the best. If you want to beat the rest, yeah. Dedication's what you need. Yeah. Dedication. Radio station, medication, that's what they'll need. Down here in the West, Radio Bristol's beat the rest. Dedication's what you need. Listen to this now. Dedication. Dedication's what you need. And a little bit of sleep for the producer.